Hi, Matt. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm all right, thanks. Your father was a musician.
Yes.
How much of what music he played were you aware of when you were younger?
Um, I think we were pretty aware. He always had a band and was always making music. It was just always around. In fact, one of the reasons why I started playing music is because in high school I wanted to be an actor, believe it or
Okay.
not. And I thought that maybe I potentially possessed some kind of natural musical gift because of my father. So I was like, well, I'll start there and then maybe make the transition, and then realized that I wasn't interested in acting at all, and that music was my true passion.
So when did music come in? Was there a moment, a turning point?
In high school. Basically, around the time that my parents divorced, I quit the sports team at the high school that I was going to and started a band to kind of rebel.
Do you remember what you got out of music at that point? What music did for you?
I think that it was some form of healing. It was definitely cathartic, but it was also a kind of safe haven.
And was this? It could be both, but in terms of the creativity of the songwriting, but or the live performances, playing live, playing in front of people.
I understand the question.
The catharsis, the healing thing, did that come from being on stage and kind of having that outlet, or was it the creative aspect of it as well?
Early on, it was just the creative.
Okay.
And as it developed, you learn ways to make it a cathartic experience in the many different mediums of music, whether it's performance or creating or whatever.
Do you remember your first show? The first like proper gig?
Yeah.
What was it like?
It was great.
Okay.
We were in a cover band. It was my first band, which was equally as bad as Left Nostra's in title.
Okay.
The title was Liquid Twilight, which is pretty hilarious. But we had a show in one of our guitar players' backyard. His father was a construction worker, and he built a stage and all this stuff. So we had our friends over, and it was great. It was fun. Yeah.
And if we then fast forward to now, because you've along the years you've played a lot of live shows. So do you still get that same excitement from when you first started out?
Yeah, I do. It comes in waves and different forms. There'll be moments where you have real emotional breakthroughs. Every single night there are new discoveries. It's just problem solving, and it's an interesting way to think about it. Not necessarily problem solving as in how can I put myself in a place to be absolutely sincere and genuine. And every night has its different hurdles, emotionally, spiritually, physically.
Have you had one show recently that kind of had an effect on you, or where you felt you had a breakthrough of some kind?
When we played London,
okay,
it was pretty spectacular. One of the more fantastical experiences I've had in a while. But then the next night we played Copenhagen, which was a much smaller room, and when you come off of that really high, I think that sometimes those shows have as much as an impact as in trying to find your center of gravity in a place that's, not as big. Big rooms sometimes feel automatically more electrifying.
Right.
So, but last night was great too. It's just hard to say.
Okay. And well, the last time we've discussed kind of melophobia, and then you trying to get rid of some of the pretenses of being in a rock and roll band. So on stage then, how does that work? Is it how do you experience playing live? Is it a very conscious thing?
Very, very conscious. It's a mix between intellect and spirit, where your intellect is to put yourself in places where you have to react to the environment, and the spirit is reacting to the environment. So the two kind of work in tandem with each other.
And is the audience important in
Absolutely. The audience, ultimately, you hope to influence the audience, because I always hope to be the kind of performer that's more of a giver than a taker.
Right.
But, and I mean influence in a good way, to lift their spirits or give them a joyous experience. But you're also influenced by the audience as well. And if they're responding to what you're doing, then you respond to that energy as well.
Well, you've been nominated for a Grammy. When did that news come to you? Was that an important thing for you?
Important to how we create music? No. It would be nice in order to potentially reach more people with music that we really believe in. It's really tough to cut through now, especially when your plan isn't to make music for commercial success, but to make music out of love. So it would be great to have that. Otherwise, it's just an honor to be kind of mentioned in the same breath as many of the great artists that are going to be there.
Over the years, the band has gone through a transition, and in particular, Tell Me I'm Pretty is very honest, very, very real. So the fact that this album is getting the type of recognition that it gets, what does that do to you?
What does it do to me? It informs approach. I think that you experiment with how you approach things in hopes to succeed in maybe an idea that you had, and also to learn from it. I love to be proved wrong as well. So both are great. So I think it just informs approach. It means that it's working more so than I thought it would, as far as having a broader reach. I thought it might lessen the audience, but make the audience more. Just because I think that as a whole, Western civilization is trending to buy into a more surface level version of whatever experience that you're talking about.
Right.
And we had the idea that maybe you could cut through all the noise by making the art and the expressiveness more important than the commerciality. And you always have reservations. We went for it. I didn't know if it was necessarily going to work. It felt great when it was very cathartic when we were doing it, and it's a great confirmation for sure.
And so now then, with what you just mentioned in mind, can I assume you've been working on new material?
Yes.
So how do you see the development from the last album to what you're writing now?
Now I'm just looking to take what I've learned and create moments with it. Okay. To not be 100% revealing or 100% concealing, but to find the right moments to reveal and conceal and that kind of thing. In conjunction to transparency. Okay. There's like the idea in songwriting where the more transparent you are, the more effective it is. And you keep yourself falling into certain safeguards, as in trying to protect yourself, and it becomes more about the communication rather than aesthetic and catering to cool, that kind of a thing. Now I'm trying to use different, the reveal and conceal as different dialects. You know, if you're in a country that has many different dialects, you want to know as many dialects as possible in order to speak a language that's understandable. And so I'm just trying to be more understandable.
So getting to the nuances and subtleties.
Yeah,
Of
totally.
right.